But you guys may have seen some of those videos where they're out here talking crazy and being the hypocrites that they are. And again, that's the reason why they're not taken serious, is because they have so many hypocritical, contradictory stances, and it's really ridiculous. But when it comes to this situation with Shannon Sharp, I want to say something real quick that needs to be said. I don't have a dog in this fight. What I'm looking at is this from a standpoint of being against the propaganda. And let me just say this. I was one of the guys that helped to repopularize that term propaganda, because that's precisely what's going on when it comes to our image. In fact, that's one of the deciding factors in terms of me even taking the position that I am, not to defend Shannon Sharp, but the fact of the matter is we have, as a collective of black men, been the targets for centuries of propaganda. If you go back and look at some of our broadcasts that we did over the past couple of weeks, we were talking about how our image shifted from when we were ruling up in certain areas of the Iberian Peninsula and we were running that area, to how there was a concerted effort to remove our power and to remove our relative positions. And that was an orchestrated global thing. And everything started shifting with our image, right? And then all of a sudden we started being seen as nothing more but these shiftless slaves. And I played you guys the clip of how it was even two white men that were playing these characters called Amos and Andy. And it was them that was talking as if they were these stupid black men. And then later on, they hired some black men to actually play those roles, but they were originally created by white men. So a lot of this, just like when the blackface and then the, all that stuff, all that is a function of them trying to besmirch our image in propaganda. And this isn't to have the whole victim mentality thing. We're just stating facts. And because of these centuries of our image being disparaged, it's important for us, if we're talking about other black men, to at least come with a level of skepticism. Even with the whole Diddy situation, I have heard stuff about him for years. So I had reason to believe that there was some truth to it. But that's the reason why I made the video, quote, Diddy Do It, which turned out to be super viral when it came to that particular phrase. People, kind of like that wordplay that I did, because I spelled his name Diddy and I asked Diddy Do It. And I did that for a reason, because I wanted it to be a question. I didn't come out saying, well, Diddy did it, or, something like that. I wanted to frame it as a question, even though there was a lot of evidence that said that he probably did something. But I said, well, he still is worthy of due process. Just being a citizen of America, he's supposed to be given the opportunity to have the facts come out, even though I have been hearing that he was a dirtbag, right? But notwithstanding, people deserve their day in court. And especially a group like us, who should be a protected group at this point, considering all of the injustices and lies that have been told on our image. And so when it comes to this Shannon Sharp thing, I don't have a reason to just jump on his side. I'm just looking at this from a fairness standpoint. And in fact, and I need to say this, I have reason to believe that whether it be Shannon or a lot of these larger platforms, some of the things that I've said have permeated throughout some of these larger platforms, and I hear some of the people regurgitating some of the things that we said. And to preface what I'm about to say, I got to give a shout out or give props to Obsidian, aka the Penguin, because those of you who may be familiar, I actually started getting notoriety on his platform. And his platform, before he was taken off of YouTube, he had a pretty popular platform, even though from the standpoint of his followers, his influence kind of went beyond that. And I think he was just around 30,000. But there were people who would be tuning in that were major people. I pointed out not too long ago when me and Israel Young Lion were on a panel, I said that this guy, one of the associates of the what's his name? The guy who's over in Ukraine, not Ukraine, Eastern Europe. The Tate brothers, the Tates, one of their road dogs, one of their associates, Waller. He had called into Obsidian's show, and he was giving them like $300 or $200 super chats. And I think I was on the panel at that time. And then there was another time that Jason Whitlock called in, or I think he called in. He was going to be on the show, or he was in the chat. The actual Jason Whitlock, and I was on that panel as well. So a lot of the type of stuff that we would talk about, a lot of these guys from these larger platforms was tuning in. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that a lot of the things that we were saying, because I was actually one of the most popular people as a guest on Obsidian's platform, and sometimes he would, even give me the opportunity to just kind of rock out. Like if he was in the middle of doing something, he would kind of leave the show to me. And this was all verifiable. You don't believe me? Go ask the Penguin. He's not going to lie for me. Shout out to the Penguin. But this is stating facts. And I need to say this because a lot of people, when you start talking like this, they start saying, oh, man, you always think somebody taking something from you. No. It's not that. It's just about calling things what they are. And like I pointed out, a lot of the influence that this platform has and other platforms such as Obsidian kind of transcends what you would think as far as the size of the platform. And he would verify this because, when he was taken off of YouTube, he went over to Rumble, and he somehow, his, I think the last time I checked, I haven't been over there. I think he's still under like 2,000 subscribers, but he still gets probably, I think, a lot of people who will still tune into him, right? So that tells you right there. And that's, on a side note, that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone over to Rumble, even though I think he was kind of encouraging people to do it, is because I think that the conversion rate is kind of low. And plus, I'm too busy to start up a whole new other channel when, we're just taking our time to build this one up, such as it is. And I think if I was to go over there, it's, some of my diehard Knight Riders might go over there, but it's not like a lot of our casual observers may not. So that's a whole nother thing. But I'm pointing this out to point out the fact that those of us who make this type of content, we do have an influence. It's important for us to make sure that we're stating facts. And I know for a fact that I've been way more influential than what the algorithm would accept or what our subscribers and their views would suggest. And I don't have to copy off of nobody. I've been out here putting in work, making blogs. I've stated this before there was a YouTube, before I knew of any of these guys. And I came into the game showing respect to people like Obsidian, going on his show. I think he was one of the first people I reached out to when I decided I was going to start my counselor channel a few years ago. And then there were other guys, I showed love to, but make no mistake about it, I don't have to copy off of a motherfucker. I ain't copied off of nobody. I got my own original ideas, content, and to the extent I show love to people, it's because that's the type of guy I am. I show respect. But I don't look at nobody's content to try to get. I've had people copy off of me, even some of your most respected, quote, legends in the game. I don't even put myself in the category as that. I'm in a whole different category. Because I'm coming in the game and I already got people copying off me, copying thumbnail ideas. I got one guy who's a big YouTuber. He's even doing what I do with the wordplay, taking letters like I did with against the Joker. And I said, is she feeding her foolish followers fake facts for real? Stuff like that, where I'll just take the F and then I'll just, or a letter, and I'll put it in the title. I got one big YouTuber, he started doing that after me. And a bunch of other stuff. But again, I only point this stuff out to show you guys that this is the type of nonsense that's going on, and people would like to run with ideas, but they don't want to give back the proper credit. And I'm not even that type of guy who likes to be out there with credit. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of fairness, right? But anyway, when it comes to the Penguin, everything that I'm saying can be justified and verified when I first announced that I was going to do this platform, Night Riders, I think I announced it on his platform, and one of the guys who was the co-host to this broadcast, I got him from over there because he used to always shout me out, and I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start, doing this this nighttime broadcast, right? So if you notice, if you look back at our older broadcasts, it was a two-man thing. I had me, and then I had my sidekick, kind of like I said I was going to do like the Batman and Robin thing, right? That's where this whole concept came from. And lo and behold, if you look at the date, or then when I started this broadcast, it was May 17th, 2023. And then a few months after that, Shannon Sharp came up with Nightcap with him and Ocho Cinco. Now, I'm not saying he got the idea from me, but before I did this, I didn't know of anybody else doing it. And like I said, when you piece it all together, big YouTubers or big personalities that's out there, like I already showed you, like Jason Whitlock and all these type of guys were tuning into me and Obsidian as we were making those broadcasts. I have that documented, and everything I'm saying, you can ask the Penguin. They were tuning in. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that Shannon Sharp himself was listening in. And so I could make the argument that he may have got the idea from me. And again, I'm not saying he did, but I know for a fact that there's bigger YouTubers who have gotten ideas from over here and ran with it. So that being the case, I don't have a dog in the fight to try to defend any of this. And so that's one of the main reasons why it's so important for us to state facts, because we never know who's listening to us. But we're going to get some more of this from Umar, and then